Hi, me Thaathu, and this is Thaathu Podcasts. Welcome back to a new episode of the podcast. On the podcast, I want to talk about something which is extremely new to me. It's about a specific music genre, which I'm quite interested to know what's going on in the minds of the people who are actively creating these pieces of music. With me right now on the line is Ryan Razak from the Maldivian heavy metal band Zennia. Ryan is the bassist of the band. Welcome, Ryan.
Hello, thank you for having me.
First of all, congratulations on the demo single. It's quite out there.
Thank you so much.
People are really
Yes.
into the single. Well, how is it going?
I think much better than expected, honestly.
Oh.
Kurukong overwhelmed by the support, to be honest.
Uh-huh. Oh,
I wasn't really expecting it would get as much support as it did, but really glad about the feedback we've been getting so far.
Oh yeah, that's cool because I remember it was like all over my social media feed. Like my cousins, everybody, they were sharing the song, and I was like, let me give this a try. Like I'm not the most thorough person when it comes to heavy metal music, okay? So like I was never exposed to a lot of heavy metal music. So like before continuing with our little chat, I really do want to apologize for anything I might say that's wrong.
No
But please feel free to correct me whenever, okay?
Yeah, sure.
So what I want to ask is, since I'm new to this, what exactly is heavy metal music, and what does heavy metal music mean to you?
Well, I mean, in the most literal sense, it's a genre of music, right? It's just a classification of a specific type of music. Don't quote me on this, but as far as I can recall, I think the term heavy metal was coined in like the late 60s when like mainstream like rock was moving into literally like a heavier sound, right? Like more like power chords on the guitars, more tremolo picking, faster drum beats, things like that. So ever since then, I think starting from like the days of like Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, like the sound just kept evolving, and then like the songs get like the content of the lyrics and everything got darker, more heavier. So it was like tackling a completely different kind of, let's say, issues or lyrical content, and like the music was being made to match it, right?
Yeah.
So eventually that became heavy metal, and
All
then
right.
through that we got like a bunch of different subgenres, like hundreds and hundreds. And like if I were to talk about it, I think we'd be here all day. So,
Of course. What does heavy metal music actually mean to you? Like, how are you connected to heavy metal music?
well, I was exposed to heavy metal at a very young age. That was because my uncle, actually, he's a drummer. And when he was like my age, a bit younger, he was in a Maldivian heavy metal band. So I was like proper exposed to heavy metal through him, right?
All right.
So like I was just a kid, but so I started going to his shows, like the old Breakout Festival, Rockstone, things like that. Watching him play, and then he'd show me like some heavy metal music, and then I started just getting into it by myself. Like the older I got, the more into it I got, right? It was like the only kind of music that really connected with. I guess you could say no other genre of music really makes me feel what heavy metal made me feel. I guess that's the best way I could put it.
Okay, that's quite interesting. Like you've also mentioned quite dark theme when it comes to heavy metal songs. Whenever I listen to a heavy metal song, I feel scared. I don't know whether if it's the music or the lyrics or the vocals. All I know is that I feel scared. Like, do you get that a lot? Like, or do people say that to you?
Yeah, some people do. Some people definitely do. And I think it's pretty normal because when you think about music as a whole, there isn't any genre quite like metal, right? It's like its own entity. So I think it's something that a lot of people find really hard to get into if they're not familiar with it. and it's definitely not a very mainstream thing,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like for most people, I guess they get really shocked when they first hear it,
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. That happens to
This
me a
should be
lot.
expected.
Yeah. Yeah. So what so when you're like writing a song or like doing a song,
Mhm.
what is the basic thought process?
Well, we're completely new to this, by the way. Like
Uh-huh.
we've been playing for a while, but
Yeah.
we've never really sat down to record our own music,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So the only time we actually thought about it seriously was like, oh, this Melrose thing started. Let's give it one more shot, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because like we were only just playing it. It was like more of a hobby,
Uh-huh.
It was just the music we all wanted to play. We had fun doing it, but we just do covers. We played like I think I've only played like two shows, which we're very fortunate to do, but it was mostly just cover songs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So since like the competition thing came up, we were like, okay, let's give it a shot, right?
Yeah.
And it was a lot of brainstorming and a lot of
Uh-huh.
figuring things out. But
Yeah.
for me, like the basic thought process was I want to write music about things I believe in, or
Uh-huh.
like social issues I want to tackle, or things
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
feel about, right?
Yeah.
Like something that I could listen to and be like, yeah, I'm happy I wrote this or contributed something to this.
Yeah.
So basically, we just came up with like a middle ground of what all the members felt. Like
Mm-hmm.
since we were all in agreement, we're like, okay, we'll write this song about this, right? Since
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone shared the same sentiment. So
Okay. Like we do have a few heavy metal bands in Maldives as well. Yeah. Because there's
yeah,
Not Neggle, Sacred Legacy, and
yeah,
there was one more band, Tormenta?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
My
yeah.
uncle was actually the drummer for Tormenta and
Oh
Not Metal, so
really?
that's why I'm so exposed to like heavy metal. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
because
so you could say he got me into it.
oh yeah, because I remember when I was little, I remember there
Mhm.
was a music festival that went around that was like really hyped up, and
Yeah.
everybody was I think it was Breakout Festival, right? Around 2008, 9, somewhere around
Yeah,
there.
that was the time where Breakout and like Rockstone was a thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. So like Tormenta was such a huge thing. Like all of my friends were
Yeah,
like following
like huge.
Tormenta and everything. But despite the popularity Tormenta had, I still feel like it's not a very mainstream genre of music in the Maldives. Why do you think it is like that?
I guess one thing is public perception. The
Mm-hmm.
other was like when you talk about the days of like Tormenta and Sacred Legacy and all these bands, right?
Yeah,
When Breakout
yeah,
Fest and Rockstone was a thing.
yeah.
I think there were two very important things there. Like the only reason they had such a huge following was you had these shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you had Rockstorm, you had Breakout, but you had these huge platforms for bands
Yeah.
to get all this exposure from. They
Mm-hmm.
had like the backing to at least play shows, right?
Yeah.
And it you could say it was kind of mainstream back then. It was the cool new trend back in the
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
you'd see all these bands in adverts on billboards. Like I remember this
Yeah.
one billboard that like it was like Burn, I think, this energy drink from a while back. It was up for
Oh
the
yeah.
longest time. I think it was Traffic Jam on it or
Yeah, yeah,
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty mainstream back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was like the cool new trend everyone hopped onto. But
Yeah.
once that died down and like the more mainstream music came into
Mm-hmm.
like the Maldives or like people kind of shied away from it. And like
Yeah,
once you
yeah.
take away all the platforms, like there's no more Breakout Fest, there's no more Rockstone, there's like no gigs in general for metal bands, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So everyone just kind of they pretty much gave up on it, I guess. Like there's no money to be made from it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So like I think like 90% of like the metal musicians from back then have probably just quit and started playing resort gigs, because
Yeah,
they need
yeah.
to make an income somehow.
I've seen a couple of them doing like the normal typical Maldivian music shows and music
Mhm.
as well. Yeah. Do you think
Yeah,
that heavy metal musicians are a bit misunderstood in the Maldives?
very much so, I think. I mean, for one, I think, well, I'm not going to say most, because I'm not sure, but I'd
Uh-huh.
say a fair bit of the public perception is like very negative.
Uh-huh.
Because if you like listen to metal, or you, especially if you play metal, you have like this stereotype, I guess, that they're not good people, or
Uh-huh.
even some people even go as far as to say that they worship Satan and all this stuff, and I'm
Oh
like, come on,
yeah.
that's so it's like the most predictable, basic stereotype you
Uh-huh.
could put on us. Like,
Uh-huh.
I'm not surprised, but I'm still disappointed.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
and
yeah.
like I think musicians as a whole are a bit misunderstood. Like, I'm
Mm.
sure there's still a stereotype towards musicians who just play regular gigs as well.
Oh yeah.
So it's like if musicians are a minority, we're like a
Mm-hmm.
minority within a minority.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah, that is so beautifully put. So
it's not great,
yeah,
but
it's not
yeah,
a great thing, but it's like the most I think the best way to put it, right?
yeah. I guess that's the
Yeah.
best way I could describe it.
Yeah. You know, it's already like a difficult thing to be in the music industry in the
Hmm.
Maldives, but how difficult is to maintain a band since like Zennia is quite new, and if I'm not wrong, you're currently living abroad. So how does
Yeah,
everything runs at the band?
um, it's really hard,
Uh-huh.
because I think yeah, it's I'd say it's quite difficult. Like, for one thing, I mean, I've been playing for like 4 years, give or take,
Uh-huh.
and like ever since the beginning, we've been playing as a band, but we've had like a couple of members like switch in and out, right? And like
Yeah.
the main reason for that happening was people leaving abroad to study.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we started out as a four-piece, like
Yeah.
me, two guitarists, and a drummer.
Yeah.
One of the guitarists left to study, and
Uh-huh.
then my friend filled in for him.
Yeah.
Then the other guitarist left to study,
Yeah.
and then another friend filled in for him. Then the
Okay.
drummer left, and we got a
Oh.
vocalist. And we had a lot of like people coming in and going out because
How long
everyone
has
just kept
this been
leaving.
going on for?
It's been going
People
on
coming
ever
in.
since we've been playing. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It eventually came full circle though. Like
All
last
right.
year,
Uh-huh.
towards the end of last year, we ended up with pretty much our original lineup minus
Mhm.
the first guitarist we had because he's still
Okay.
abroad.
All right.
We have like the original drummer,
All
me
right.
on bass, the first
Uh-huh.
vocalist we got, and the first guitarist we had. And like
Okay.
the second guitarist is a friend of mine who was brought in to replace the first guitarist. So
Uh,
it's pretty much more or less the actual lineup right now. So
uh-huh.
this is yeah. So I guess it came full circle eventually. But then
Uh-huh.
me and the drummer live abroad too now, so we're still never in the
Oh.
same place together.
Oh, okay. So how does the recording and everything takes place? Like, do you guys do it
Um,
separately or like?
so last year I saved up to buy myself an interface,
Uh-huh.
which is like a device you can plug into a computer
Uh-huh.
and use to record, right?
Uh-huh.
So luckily I had that with me.
Yeah.
And then when the competition was announced, I was back in Maldives and we were under lockdown.
Oh,
So
okay.
I actually came back home for 10 days in March and ended up getting stuck for like 6 months.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I was
Story of
stranded
our
back.
lives.
Yeah, I was stranded back home without any of my equipment. Like my
Uh-huh.
bass was back
Yeah.
in Malaysia.
Mm.
Everything I owned was like in Malaysia, and I was just stuck at home. And like the competition was
I.
announced, and then I was like, well, let's try and do it anyway because I'm trying
Yeah.
to get back as soon as I can, and I think I'll make it back before there's the deadlines there.
Yeah.
And then the one of the guitarists is my cousin, and we live in like the same house. It's one of
Mm.
those big Maldivian houses that split into like like
Oh.
a bunch of little houses.
Oh, yeah.
So that really helped because we could meet up in person and just talk about
Uh-huh.
stuff.
Yeah.
So what we would do was we'd write riffs and record it
Mm-hmm.
on our phones and like send it to like a group chat. And then
Oh,
that's how we started off making our song.
so the
And
typical
then,
COVID
yeah,
anything band. Yeah.
yeah, pretty much. So it
Yeah.
started off as phone recordings. And by
Oh,
the time I made it back to Malaysia, I got out of quarantine at the start of September.
okay.
So I basically had just like a month to start playing bass after 6 months, write the parts, record the parts, and like send it. And then the guitarists would meet up at a friend's house
Uh-huh.
and like they'd both record together
Okay.
over there. And we did the drums. We programmed them because our drummer's in Malaysia and
Uh-huh.
he doesn't have a drum kit with him. So we just had to
Okay.
write drums like digitally and program the
Uh-huh.
drums. And we were lucky enough to find a studio for rent
Uh-huh.
to record vocals at. So I think we did like 2 sessions. We paid to get 2 sessions and got the vocals done. And had our friend mix and master the entire record, like the song, I mean. So yeah, it was a challenge.
Uh-huh.
It was hell, not gonna lie, but it was fun. No,
It was
it
fun,
was fun.
definitely. It
But
sounds fun.
yeah, looking back on it, it was fun. But at the time, it was really stressful.
Okay, that was so much work has gone into it. It shows, and it definitely shows in the music. Like, so you guys obviously will be like creating more music in the future. Like, do you have any plans on
Mhm.
like incorporating other styles of music into heavy metal?
Well, yes and no at the same time because metal already incorporates a lot of other styles of music
Uh-huh.
because that's just how the genre was created.
Yeah.
Um, we've been like throwing around ideas,
Mm-hmm.
but we haven't really settled on doing something like that just yet.
Okay.
Like anything too out of the ordinary just yet. But
Okay.
personally, I'd really like to experiment with like a more traditional Divehi
Oh
like
yeah,
sound.
that's where I
Yeah,
was going because I once
that's something I yeah
yeah.
it's something I've really thought about for the longest
Uh-huh.
time. I'm just not completely sure how to do it just yet, but that's
Okay.
definitely something we'll try out at some point. See if it
Oh.
works.
Oh yeah,
Might be
because
interesting.
yeah, I once found a YouTube video which do you know the sitar, the Indian classic music instrument?
Uh-huh.
So I
Yeah.
saw a band which was like incorporating Indian classic music into heavy
Yeah.
metal, and I was like, wouldn't it be cool to have a band who would do something like that in the Maldives with like Bodu
Yeah.
Bero? What not,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. I've been thinking about using Border in a song. How would that work? I'm not
Yeah, that,
sure how I'm going to do it, but it's definitely something I want to try and do.
but hey, I'm looking
Because,
forward for that.
yeah, like, there's
Please
a
do
lot of,
let me know if you
oh,
ever think of doing
yeah,
that or ever end up doing it.
definitely, definitely.
So, what are the plans for Xenia after Metal Wars?
So we're working on an EP.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna write a couple more songs and release a self-titled EP,
Uh-huh.
hopefully next year.
Yeah.
That's the plan anyway.
Okay.
I think we're gonna start recording another song in December.
Uh-huh. So,
So I mean, we take it step by step.
all right.
Like
That's
regardless
good.
of what happens with the competition or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
since we've kind of figured out a way to make it work, and we
Mm-hmm.
managed to record like one song already, so
Yeah.
might as well use what we
That
learned
too
and
during
keep recording
COVID,
more.
right?
Yeah, I mean,
So anything
we
is
know we can do it
possible.
now. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
plus, the support we've been getting was really motivating. Now that we know that there are people actually want to listen to our music, it's like it makes us want to make more music. To show everyone else. So.
That's great. It's really nice to hear that. Ren, before concluding, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me again. I
Oh,
think what you're doing with this podcast is really cool.
oh, thank
Definitely,
you.
subscribe to Thaathu.
Oh, thank
You
you.
can check out you can check out my band's socials at Zennia MV. That's on Instagram and Facebook, YouTube, and SoundCloud. If you want to keep up to date. And definitely check out our song if you haven't already. Like, we love hearing, your feedback, whether you like it or not. It's
Oh.
fine as long as you
Oh,
give it
yeah.
a fair shot. But yeah, overall, just thanks for having me. Thanks for all the support we've been getting as a band.
Yeah.
Really means a lot to us. And keep an eye out. We'll be recording more music soon.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'll definitely leave the links down below. So thank you so much, Ryan, for coming on the podcast. It was really nice talking to you. Looking forward
Yeah,
for more
likewise.
from you guys. All right, bye.
Now go!